Yeah, we're just warming up. How long are we going to wait? 1 minute?
Go.
We're live.
We can go now?
Are we live?
Yeah.
But we're waiting 2 minutes.
We can.
Okay, we are live, Joe.
We're live.
Okay,
Welcome.
Joe, make an introduction. It's always me.
Then I haven't prepared what to say.
Okay.
I'm Joe.
Hey, this is Joe from Propertia, and I am Peter from Propertia, and we are here live on YouTube and Instagram. And if you have any relevant and very good questions, we would love to receive them about buying properties in Bali, Indonesia. So guys, we are, as mentioned, Propertia. We sell finished villas, off-plan villas, but we don't do rentals.
Land.
Huh?
We sell land as well.
Yeah, land. We sell a lot of land. So if you are looking to invest in Indonesia, and we will talk about the investment later, but if you're looking to invest in Indonesia, this video might be for you, and this is a great opportunity to ask any question.
Yes.
So we already received some questions on Instagram and YouTube from some of our subscribers and followers, and we will go through them in a minute. Normally it takes a few minutes before people catch up. So Joe, as usual, what's going on in Bali?
What is going on in Bali? So, I guess if you watched my YouTube Q1
Yes, I did.
video last week, you will see that the foreign arrival target is bigger this year, 6.5 million instead of 6.3. January was up 15% from January last year.
How much?
15%.
15%.
January 2025 from January 2024. So far, we're ahead of target for foreign arrivals. So far, so good.
Yeah.
Busy in Bali. Lots happening around the island. Lots of infrastructure. Lots of changes. Yeah, all the numbers are on the right way or going in the right direction.
So tourism is as crazy as last year.
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
And now we are almost 1st of May.
Yep.
And you said we are right on target with the tourist numbers. What's your feeling for the rest of the year? Are they gonna hit the target?
So I think last year, when you get to those very busy months, which are June, July, August, September, you normally see, instead of 5 to 550,000 foreign arrivals, that goes up to 650, 700. That happened last year. I'm sure it's going to happen again this year. I think the general consensus is it's a little bit strange when you're always here, because you always think January, February, March feels quiet.
Very quiet, yeah.
But it's not. We're busier than
Yeah,
we were
exactly.
a year ago. We're busier than we were 2 years ago. What I do think is happening is maybe the tourists are spreading out a little bit more. So we see a little bit, maybe fewer in Canggu, a few more in Uluwatu, but the actual numbers are more and more. So I think we'll be well on target this year.
We are actually ahead of our targets, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
And I think it's quiet now, but we are also used to a very high pace.
It's quiet, but it's not quiet.
It's, yeah,
It
exactly.
feels quiet for us, but it's actually not
Yeah,
quiet. It's
exactly.
more
That's what I
busy
wanted to. Yeah.
than usual.
And what's your, I mean, the market in general, we are selling a lot of off-plan villas because they are beautiful, they are affordable, and they are in the right locations. What's your overall feeling about the property market in general?
I think it's been a very buoyant market for 3 years here. We've
Yeah.
seen a lot of activity in the market. I think 3 years ago it was a little bit of FOMO in Bali. People were a bit worried about missing out. What we've seen happen over the last year to 18 months is more and more serious developers have come into the market. Better projects have been launched. Prices they've actually remained very stable over the last couple of years. I think we're just seeing them go up a little bit this year.
Correct.
But in general, what we're seeing is better quality villas, better quality products, newer areas. Market is very strong, and I think a little bit like the tourists spreading out between Canggu and Bingin, we're also seeing the property market spread a little bit between the two.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny with Bali, you know, it's actually two very dense areas. It's Canggu and it's Uluwatu, especially around Bingin. But it's in Bingin, and the Bukit Peninsula is spreading out a little bit now, right?
Yeah,
so
sure.
for me, you know, we talk a lot about the market. Is that coffee? Okay, let's have coffee. Thank you, Tita.
This is Tita.
Tita, say
you.
hello, Tita. Good. For me, the market is still extremely strong. When I talked with investors overseas, they still don't believe the high ROIs that we on a conservative basis. What is a normal ROI if you buy a nice property from Propertia?
I think over the last 2 to 3 years, we've always been talking up to 15% would be great, right? I think realistically, people's concerns are there too many villas in the market? And I say absolutely not, because you get more and more foreign arrivals coming in every month, less hotels around. And actually, if you hear the reports, it's actually the hotels which struggle for their occupancies,
they're
but
suffering.
not the villas.
Yeah.
So, but we also have to be realistic with the market, and it cannot just be more and more villas and the same ROI. I think what we're comfortable telling our clients now is that you're able to achieve a net ROI of 12%, and there are of course extremely good opportunities where you can get higher than that, but compared to other places in the world, 12 is also very, very strong.
Super strong.
So we don't want to overpromise and underdeliver, but that's a realistic number that our clients can aim for.
I think 12% is amazing. I mean, globally, people are just happy not losing money right now.
Yeah.
So the market is changing very fast, but for me, it's getting net 12%. That's incredible. Other properties, Mexico, Tulum, Spain, Mallorca, they are talking about 4 to 6%, but the regulations are getting stronger. So Airbnb is banned more and more places. So Bali, for me, is a safe haven if you want to invest in properties. And we had a lot of the big investors buying more than one property, right?
Yeah, I think a lot of people have started small, so to speak, started with one property and then built that over time, 2, 3, 4 properties. I think what's also been interesting is I've studied the daily rental market a lot over the last 6 to 8 months, and even through what we consider the lower months, which are October, November, February, March, it's still possible to get very high occupancies. Yeah. Of course, your rates are adjusted throughout the year, but you can still fill your villas 80% of the time. Whereas we compare to these other places, Mallorca, places like that,
seasonal.
You're talking very seasonal, very limited amounts of time in the year.
And that's the strength. Everyone forgets it. We don't have any seasons here.
Yeah.
And it's been a long raining season, but we still have a lot of tourists here.
And a lot of sunshine in between.
True. Good. We have a question from Valeska, which is our, what do you call that, questionary?
So we have a few questions from the same person.
Yeah.
He wants to know what is the best investment in your opinion, and how many bedrooms, and is it freehold? And also, what is the price that we're talking about? What would be the ROI? And if you had to choose one area to invest, which area would it be?
Was that one question?
It was 4 questions in one.
3 questions from the same person.
But very relevant.
So what is the best investment in your opinion?
Maybe we just start in reverse a little bit, because I guess legally the understanding of freehold versus leasehold needs to be considered here.
Yeah.
We do have a question. Someone wants you to explain the lease purchase in layman terms.
In layman's terms, okay.
Start there.
Start there.
Then we go to the other questions.
Pretty much 2 ways of purchasing here in Bali. One is freehold, which is only available for Indonesian citizens. There's a possibility that it can be purchased by a foreign-owned company, but it's not a typical freehold. The title gets converted to HGB, which is Hak Guna Bangunan, and then it's a 30, 20, 30-year period. So it's a maximum of 80. Those extensions are based on a tax which is relevant to the NGOP, which is a government valuation, not 100% freehold.
No.
If you're an Indonesian citizen, no worries, you can buy freehold. The other way is leasehold. Leasehold is effectively a lease of the plot of land from the local owner, so Balinese or Indonesian owner. I take that plot of land, I then want to build a villa on it, or a developer builds a villa on it, and then they sell me that plot of land with the building on top. And that's usually 25 to 30 years as a starting term, with an extension in the future, which could also be 25 years, approximately, plus minus, based on the terms that are agreed. The ones that we work with, because we're very involved with the developers and we like to make sure that our clients are protected, the extensions are very strong, where you have that
Correct.
initial term and then you have a guarantee that you can add to it in the future. But every lease is a little bit different, and you always need to read and get your notary to read the terms and conditions of it. So absolute basics, if we're talking about what is the best investment, a majority of people can only get into buying leasehold, as our clients are foreigners.
Correct.
Right? If you're a local, of course, freehold would be a fantastic investment. That's what's the best freehold versus leasehold. Areas?
It was in terms of bedrooms, I think. 'Cause
Bedrooms?
He says how many bedrooms?
How many bedrooms? If you speak to the management companies, the daily rental companies, most of them will tell you if it's a 1-bedroom villa, they will always take it. Not too bothered about style and location, because they will always be able to rent it out. But of course, the ones in the best locations are the ones that rent the best. 1-bedrooms are their most favorable. 2 bedrooms, they will always consider a little bit. 3, 4, 5 bedrooms are much bigger decisions for the rental companies to take, because they're usually occupied much less.
Yeah.
So for us, the most stable investments in the market have been 1 and 2 bedrooms over the last 5 years. I think when each of us individually came to Bali for the first time, if you looked in Canggu, there were only 3, 4, 5 bedroom villas on
impossible.
20 Ara available. You couldn't find something as a single or a couple unless it was a guest house. If it was guest house, 4-bedroom villa. The market over the last few years has demanded smaller villas because singles and couples have come and there's less hotels. Therefore, 1 and 2 bedrooms have become the most popular. If you ask me right now, what should you invest in for this year? I think 1 bedrooms is the
For sure.
right
I agree.
villa.
We also had investors with $1 million who thought they were going to fly in, buy 2 4-bedroom villas, where we actually explained the situation to them, and they ended up buying 4 1-bedroom instead, because it was purely an investment. It's not that the management companies are actually having 60 to 70% occupancy on 5 and 6 bedroom. I saw on AirDNA that 5 and 6 bedroom villas in certain locations were performing better than 3.
Very well, yeah.
So it's of course, when families, they stay together.
Yeah.
But the demographic has changed. I saw when I flew into Bali again, it was like friends, singles, couples, not that many families anymore. So it's becoming, even though it's still a very family-friendly island, it's becoming more like a digital hub, a place where you can enjoy all the facilities of Bali.
1 and 2 bedroom.
1 and 2 bedroom, yes, for sure. Preferable 1.
And so what is the price that we're talking about, I guess, because it's the same person. So I guess it's for the 1-bedroom
A 1-bedroom
leasehold.
in a prime location.
Exactly. And what would be the ROI? And also, what's the best area to invest in?
Wow, it's a lot of good questions.
So Peter mentioned it a little bit at the beginning. We see the best rental opportunities in 2 areas, Canggu and Bingin, Uluwatu. Canggu has been a bit tried and tested now. It's been around for the last 6 to 8 years. It's grown a lot over the last 5. There are a lot of villas. There are also a lot of tourists here. So it's an area that if you type, where should I go in Bali, probably sits at the top. Uluwatu has always been the kind of dream destination where people would visit for 1 or 2 days, but not necessarily stay down there for too long. And over the last 2 years has exploded. When we talk about Uluwatu, primarily over the last 2 years, we focused on Bingin, because that's where the top cafes, restaurants, gyms, etc. are. But now as an area, it's growing. So you've got the choice of 2 areas, Canggu and Bingin, if you're looking for a prime example. What I would say is the demand in Bingin is getting extremely high, but the supply is much lower than Canggu.
Exactly.
At the moment. If you're looking at either one of those areas, Canggu or Bingin, as a 1-bedroom villa, it's circa $200,000.
Yeah.
189 to 220, something like that, for a good 1-bedroom in those areas. And if you buy the right villa, again, I think conservatively we're very comfortable at 12%, but actually with the right villa in those areas, it's possible to get 14-15%.
I think so too. I think it's going to be hard with the $200,000. I think it's more like 219, 229 now, but still worth the investment. And yeah, like we normally, for the one bedrooms, what is very, it's like Joe said, crucial location. Anywhere you buy in the world, location is prime. It has to be prime. Design and price. We see, unfortunately, a lot of real estate agents pricing the villas a little bit wrong compared to the locations. So you cannot get a high ROI in I would say less desirable locations. It makes sense, right? So even though the design is there, maybe the tourists are not gonna prefer the villa. And we have several, where we're sitting right now is a good example. Just behind us is Tumbac.
Yeah.
We have seen a lot of one bedroom villas being built.
Yeah.
And what do they have of occupancy? Daily rental?
So strong.
Yeah, not so
Daily
strong.
rental, not so strong.
Yeah.
Although I think there is a market in these secondary areas for long-term,
Yeah.
monthly, yearly rental,
Yeah.
things like that. But if it's daily rental, which is inevitably the strongest, then it has to be a area.
I saw another very wise guy, I'm not going to mention his name, but he was actually looking into the numbers with daily rental versus yearly rental. And he was saying you can actually make 8% ROI on a yearly rental, which is very strong. And on top of that, with yearly rentals in Bali, you get all the money up front. So that could also be an alternative for rentals. You don't have to do daily rental if it stress you out with the management. If you buy a one bedroom in a very good location, rent it out quarterly, half a year or yearly, you still have a strong ROI. Next question.
Long answer to a short
Yeah.
We have a lot of questions.
Yeah,
so.
it's good. It's good.
We give 30-second answers.
Maybe
Yeah.
they are very similar, all of them.
So what is the average occupancy rate over a 12-month period? Short answer.
Short answer,
Average?
if you buy the right villa, it's possible to have 80% to 85%.
Yeah, I
think.
agree. 85.
If you buy the wrong villa, I think you will sit under 80, but it's very, very possible to have more than 80 if you have the right villa.
Yeah.
Okay, what is the average cost of lease extension?
Oh, you cannot. It depends on
So
the area.
keep it short and sweet. The lease extension is based on the value of the land only.
Correct.
Okay, so even if there's a villa on top, we're saying it's a value of the land only. If we are in the middle of Canggu or wherever we are, the land is valued price per ara per year, so per 100 square meters per year. Now, that's your price of your extension, but that's quite broad because we could be up in Ubud and be 10, 12 million per ara per year. We could be in Canggu, where I heard 50 the other day, 43 in Preranan, something like that, million IDR per ara per year. So your extension is based on the land value only, and the land value is whatever the market is in that area at the time.
Correct.
It also depends when you get the extension.
Exactly. That's why I say the market, the value of that market at that time.
Yeah.
If you're doing your extension in 10 years, maybe Canggu's gone up, maybe it's stayed the same, maybe it's dropped down slightly, but it is at the time of extension.
Right. What is the standard warranty for the construction works of the new villas in Bali?
Okay. What's the standard quality?
Warranty.
Warranty. Okay. So yeah, we have from our developers, we normally have 3 months to a year on what we call MEP, technical things, and we have 12 months of building guarantee. We want 12 months because we need one raining season to pass.
Yeah.
That's when you know if anything needs to be fixed on your villa.
Yeah.
MEP is electricity, piping, everything. So as soon as you move in, you would know if there's an issue. So that can be fixed. So
And what I would say is the management companies here are super professional.
they are.
So when you get your keys to your villa and you give it to the management company,
They
the
will
first
report back.
thing they will do is go and check all the MEP and check the villa, and you will know within days
Yeah.
if there's anything.
And then
that's missing.
the developer has to fix the issues if it's within the guarantee. Yep.
Once a villa is located, how long does it generally take to close purchase the property? And also, is there any specific documentation a foreigner has to get to participate in a leasehold?
Oh, that's interesting.
No, so anybody can buy a leasehold, regardless of nationality or visa status. Actually, anybody could do it. Also important to mention, a majority of our clients are not here. They're sat overseas, they're sat in America or in Europe or Canada or somewhere around the world, so it can be done 100% remotely through power of attorneys, and the notaries are very professional here. If you find a property you like, first of all, actually seeing the property is possible through virtual showings, through our amazing videographers sat behind there. And then actually, if you decide you want to move ahead with that property, typically what would happen is through the contract to the notary stage, it's about a 10 to 14 day period.
Yeah.
Closing, 3 weeks.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like in Spain where you need almost a Spanish social security number. You can actually just lease from your passport.
Yeah.
So you don't have to register anywhere in Indonesia at all. Quite easy. Some are setting up foreign-owned companies as well.
From overseas.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's a lot of, that's more for the taxes. We will touch base on the taxes also.
Maybe do a quick rundown on the process remotely. So from the person choosing a villa to...
So a lot of our clients are sat overseas.
Yeah.
They will typically contact our amazing sales agents at Propertia, able to see the villas, do virtual showings, things like that. Once that happens, if they decide they want to move forward, then they can move forward with a pre-purchase agreement, effectively, pay a deposit to a notary who will follow up and do all of the legal checks, legal due diligence. That will normally take about 10 days. Once that's done, the notary invites everybody in for signing, to sign the notarial deeds. The buyer doesn't have to be here for that. They can again issue a power of attorney to somebody that's sat here in Indonesia, whether it's a friend, whether they want a legal company or ourselves to act on their behalf. That signing takes place and then payment has to be done. So the process is quite straightforward and quite
super easy. And now I realize why people are asking, because in Spain, you have to add another 12% on the price in taxes and fees for the government, everything. Super expensive to buy in
Here,
Spain.
if you buy a property for $200,000, the only fee you're going to pay is your notary fee, which is 1%. Nothing
Easy.
else. Yeah. If you want to set up a company, that will also cost a little bit.
And I doubt you will find another place in the world where the occupancy is higher than in Bali,
I agree.
if you buy the right villa.
Okay, a little bit of a different question. Does the density on the roads, the traffic, worry you at all for the desirability to travel in the long term?
Again, I mean, if you watched my video on, and if you didn't, you should watch my video. Infrastructure-wise, there's a lot happening around the island. There's been the light railway network, which is in progress. There are the sea taxis, which are in progress as well, taking people from the airport to Seminyak, Kuta, places like that. There are lots of new roads and underpasses which are being done. So it is all a work in progress.
But it takes time.
It takes time. I think the other thing I would say is, like I said, January was 15% up on January the year before. To me, it didn't feel busier than January last year, which means something must be happening with that traffic. There must be a way that it's flowing better than it was before. So I think there's a lot that we see that is not, a lot that we don't see is maybe not completely obvious to us that it's happening, but there has been a lot of work happening around the island, and it will continue to work as well.
And if you watch YouTube videos from other places around the world, they have the same issues.
I lived in London, and sometimes driving to work also took me 4 hours.
So it's not only Bali that has congestion and traffic.
Okay, we have two people that want to sell something in Ubud. Someone says, I have leasehold for 25 years in Ubud with 1-bedroom building. I want to sell my leasehold. Can you do it for me?
Yeah. Unfortunately, we are a small company. I would say we specialize in Canggu, the surroundings of Canggu and Uluwatu right now, and we are not specialists in Ubud, and we only do something if we know what we're doing. So I think for now, we haven't opened an office in Ubud, and I don't want to disappoint people. We tried a few listings in Ubud.
Yeah.
We went there for a few showings. Maybe it's
Ubud's big. Right?
yeah, Ubud is big.
You can be 10 kilometers away from the city center in Ubud and still be in Ubud. Right? And I don't know where. I don't know.
I love Ubud.
But it is beautiful.
It's a huge market.
Yeah.
I went there the other day. It's a huge market, and eventually, hopefully, we will open an office. But right now, we are content what we have.
Yes.
One of your favorite questions. What do you think about Kadungu?
Again, we had that question last time also.
People always ask.
I think Kadungu is fantastic. I do. Bali beach glamping? Yeah. As an investment, yeah. We thought it was going to happen faster. I don't see it happening, but there's people who wants to get away from the buzz of Canggu, but there's many other places. I think Kadungu has been by Ciputra, which is one of the biggest developers in Indonesia. Kadungu Real Estate Fund, whatever they're called. I think it's going to be amazing. For me, it's a little bit like Ubud. I'm not in a hurry to...
I think it's very early as well.
Yeah.
If you look geographically where Kadungu is compared to some of the other places, we had Canggu or Berawa, Canggu, Peranan, Sese, Tramagi, Niani, they are all on the doorstep of each other.
Yeah.
There's then a big gap before you
Yeah,
get to Kadungu. It's a 15
Exactly.
minute, 20-minute drive to actually get there. So I think geographically there's too big a space between them at the moment.
As an investment, you wouldn't do it.
As an investment, if I wanted to live somewhere
Yeah.
that was close
Could be.
to the beach,
Yeah.
cheaper to purchase and quiet, fantastic. But I've also seen 1-bedroom villas which are the same villa in Berawa, which is doing very well, and they have the same villa in Kadungu where they slash the rates to very, very cheap.
Exactly.
So I think it's too early as a place to actually invest for daily.
And it's quite funny, you have the Canggu area, then you have Peranan, then you have Sese, you have Chimaki, you have Nyani, you have Tanalot. It's going to take a while.
Yeah.
I mean, there's...
Yeah.
So for
sure
investment,
Probably was not the last question on Kadungu,
No.
so we'll come back to it.
there's someone typing Kadungu.
Well, as a foreign investor, is there a BNB management support through the year?
Huh?
A daily rental support.
Yeah, like I guess that they're asking if we
Management
do
companies.
management.
No, we don't.
We don't do.
No.
We don't do management, but yeah, absolutely. I mean, I have first-hand experience of the management companies here, and they are absolutely incredible. If you choose the right one, you don't need to be involved at all. They can do everything for you. The good ones are very proactive with adjusting rates and fixing your villa if there's issues.
Making
and
sure you have a
maintenance
successful
and
business,
Blah, blah, blah. So you don't need to be here, and you
No.
don't need to be involved at all in your daily rental if you have it.
I mean, you could basically do an investment in Bali, not being here,
think
not
you have
coming.
clients that never had-
Yeah, it's just...
Never been here, never
Yeah.
wanted.
And we can actually, in Propertia, we can help you set up a bank account, set up a PMA, which is a foreign-owned company. We can help you buy the right villa. You don't have to be here. So if you're just looking for a passive investment, instead of calling your bank and buy some gold, you can also buy a villa in Bali.
Yes.
Just call Propertia.
Yes.
Yeah.
What is the average percentage rate or cost a professional property management company charge to manage a property? So how much per?
How much in
does it
percentage
cost?
are they charging?
15%, I would say,
Yeah.
is average for a management company. I think, like anywhere, they charge based on different things. Some of them charge based on your net fee, some of them charge based on your gross before or after OTAs, but I think 15% is fairly standard. You usually have then that's your marketing fee, basically. You have a management fee as well, which is usually for your staff, cleaner, gardener, pool man, things like that. So if people are wondering what you would get net from your revenue, then we would usually estimate that will be somewhere around 60%
Yep.
of what you get in revenue will end up in your pocket after your management, marketing, tax, pay your tax, and so on. So, yeah,
60%.
60%.
That's nice. 50 is also good.
50 is also good.
60 is, yeah.
What has been the land price trend in Canggu area over the past 5 years?
Oof.
5 years. It's like the Balinese people say, it's going only one way. No, but it stopped now, I feel. Now it's more flat. 2 years ago, from 1 month to another, it just increased.
I think there was a long period, obviously in COVID, where there was not much movement at all, and then suddenly the gates to Bali opened and land tripled in about 1 year. Then it started to stabilize, and now it's, I would say over the last year to 18 months in Canggu, it's actually been
Correct.
It's been an upward curve, but a little bit more stable. We also have, that's Canggu, but we also have Bingin, where the similar thing has happened. It's been a very sharp increase, but it's starting to level out a little bit in those top ends.
And maybe you should explain why it levels out, because this is interesting. Very few people, they actually understand why does it actually stop. When does it stop?
When does it stop?
Yeah.
When it doesn't fit into the calculator.
Exactly. By whom? By whom?
Developers.
Exactly.
I think
The landowner needs to realize that when the developers are out, it stops.
we talk a lot about sales prices of
Yeah.
villas, 1, 2 bedrooms, where they should start, where they should end for an attractive ROI for our clients to get. This is also taken into account markets around the world and how Bali needs to remain competitive. Therefore, sales prices can only be sales prices, right? A 1 bedroom cannot be $500,000 because
No.
it will just never work. Land prices play a big part of what the developer can sell for,
Exactly.
what they can also make. But of course, there becomes a point where it stops making as much sense to them. And that's usually where the prices start to plateau.
Yeah.
Not necessarily just because of that, but mainly because developers will stop actually buying it,
Yeah.
right? And then the market will also stop.
Exactly. Any more questions?
Do you want an easy or a hard question?
We want an easy. Give me an easy question.
Yeah, okay.
What could you expect the annual net income on a 1 or 2 bedroom in a prime area be?
Net income
Yes.
in
Annual,
USD.
Dollar amount.
Yeah.
I guess.
We are still in Indonesia. We love the Indonesian rupiah, but for everyone's sake, we're just going to do it in dollars. But a net amount of a 1 bedroom in a key location should be between $2,800 to $3,300 net. Maybe, like you said, 60% is in your. That's a high performing 1 bedder. So it's quite a lot of money. We normally, our investors, they come and say, show me villas where I can get the money back in 5 to 6 years. That's, that's the 15-70% ROI that Joe was mentioning, but we also very often talk gross and net. So I think it's a lot of money. If you have a villa like yours, you've been surprised by yours, huh? Can I say you have a villa?
Who's watching? I pay my tax.
Yeah. He does. He pays everything. He's yeah. No, but it's relevant to say that when you have this business, you're sort of addicted to looking into your app now, right? It's like, where is my occupancy?
Yeah.
But I think you have a beautiful villa. It's a 2 bedroom, nice location, For me, what is very important.
Link below if you want.
Yeah,
to
link
book.
below if you want
it,
to
link
book.
down there.
You get 10% discount if you book directly with Joe now. But what surprised me was that if you just follow I would say you followed everything, location, style, everything, then you have a high occupancy.
I think I said one of my surprises with it was, and as I'm learning more about the rental market, is we obviously talk conservative numbers when we talk with our clients, and we also talk averages, but it's important to mention that the prices don't go like this.
No.
The prices go like this, right? And for somebody, if you're not overly greedy, you want a good occupancy and you want a good revenue, but you don't want your villa sat empty, and you're okay with prices being adjusted, and of course when times are good it also goes up, then you can have very strong occupancies. I mean, I'm happy with my
You're still smiling?
Yeah.
No. I think what is also worth mentioning, the top 3 management companies, they are super selective with the villas now. So you cannot just buy any villa in any location and say, I would like you to take care of it. They have become selective also. And this is what is interesting for me, because that puts a lot of pressure on the property market also. When we deal with developers, it has to be in the right style. Otherwise, the top 3 management companies are just going to say, nope, don't want it, which is interesting. They are selective now also.
Speaking of styles, what are the most common themes and designs used in villas and real estate?
In Bali.
I guess.
We have many different styles.
Yeah, I think we've seen a lot over the last 4 or 5 years, and I think it's because Bali attracted a lot of people from around the world in and after COVID. A lot of different styles came with that. A lot of people from different regions around the world that came with their Mediterranean styles or came with their Moroccan styles or whatever it was, right? I think when we first came to the island, you were talking a lot very Balinese styles, which are beautiful, but I think what was learned in COVID is that they were fantastic to stay in for a week, but not a year.
Exactly.
Right? They were amazing daily rentals. After COVID, styles and inclusions in the villa seemed to change a little bit, whereas villas became a little bit more universally adaptable, where you could stay in it for a week, you could stay in it for a year. They were suitable for daily rental or long-term rental. Closed living, aircon in your living room, bedrooms all inside the same building.
Kitchen islands, everything, modern facilities.
A lot more, definitely a lot more modern, but I think style-wise, we've seen Mediterranean. It's quite broad, Mediterranean.
Yeah, it is broad.
Tulum, Moroccan, terracotta. Now we're starting to almost see it come full circle back around to a little bit more Balinese, pitched roofs, overhangs, things like that. So
wood roof.
So many styles.
And most styles, they work.
Yeah.
Except for the pink style.
Except the pink villas.
Depends on the pink. What happens if a builder decides to walk away from build after deposit and payments have been made?
That's why you get a payment plan.
One more time, can you just repeat? What happens if a builder decides to walk away?
If a developer decides to stop building and walk away with the money. And
this is why you should only buy from Propertia. So we sign over the lease of the land immediately when we sign a developer agreement. That means your security is in the land. You own the land. In any case, you have a dispute with your developer, you can go to the notary and say, I have a dispute, I would like my land, because that's your security. We actually heard from a lot of other real estate agents, they don't sign over the land immediately. And some developers said, no, you're not going to do it before the last installment. But that's unacceptable, exactly like that situation where a developer walks away because of financially.
And then also on top of that, if you buy off plan, your payment plan is linked to the progress of the development. So at the beginning, you're paying to have the land signed over at the start of the development. You will only pay your next installment when it reaches a certain milestone.
Exactly.
So you're never far or too far ahead of what is actually happening on site.
Yeah.
Also, we choose our developers.
We choose our developers.
We
very
choose our developers
very,
carefully.
very wisely.
All right. A little bit of a hard question,
Yeah.
but relevant. With the global inflation still putting pressure on consumer spending, how sustainable are nightly villa rates in Bali, especially when much of the ROI relies on short-term tourism demand?
Yes.
There's one thing to mention on the economy before we get into it too much.
Yeah.
The euro.
Euro. Yeah.
If you're coming,
Do we have European subscribers right
is
now?
there anyone watching from
Yeah,
Europe?
somebody said hello from
Can
France.
you, from Europe, give us a thumbs up?
I think it's relevant to say that, of course, everything around the world is getting more expensive, but it's also relevant to say that if you're coming from Europe, which is a big place, and you're bringing the euro to the IDR, your IDR is about 10% more than it was a few months ago. So actually, I think people have a little bit more money when they're
Yeah.
coming here.
You
Not
get a
everyone,
nicer
but
villa.
yeah.
Yeah. Just on currency alone,
Yes.
before negotiations, you can actually.
Yeah.
So if you are planning, and I know a lot of you guys are planning to invest in Bali, this is the time. Dollar is strong also, not as strong as it used to be.
Yeah.
But euro, that is absolutely insane.
Yeah.
So the Indonesian rupiah has devaluated a little bit for different reasons. But it means this is a buying option for you. This is a buying opportunity. And like Joe said, 10% is what we calculated,
Yeah.
which is incredible on a villa,
Yeah.
10%.
This was not a direct answer to the question.
No,
because
but-
the question was,
Yeah,
are we concerned
yeah.
about it?
No.
It was more, how do we see the global
Will it
financial situation?
So it's like, how sustainable is it to have an investment in Bali, knowing that it relies heavily on tourism?
Mm-hmm.
I think Bali's a global destination,
Yeah.
right? Bali's not a destination that's going to see a considerable downfall in the
No.
amount of tourists that come. And I think what Bali has done over the last few years is, as a brand, Bali and the governor of Bali has looked to increase Bali as a little bit higher end destination, especially with the new marina happening and things like that. They want more money to come into the island. I don't think that will slow down a lot. So therefore people will still come in, and therefore nightly rates are still going to remain high. But like we said right at the beginning, with more competition in the market, it's important to understand that maybe 12% is now your minimum on your ROI. And if we can get 14, 15, fantastic.
Amazing.
But it's just about realigning with the market,
But it's all about buying the right villa,
for sure.
because a lot of people are not buying the right villas. And we see a resale of villas where people have been really disappointed about the investment,
Yeah.
and they think there's a capital gain to be made in Bali.
Yeah.
It's not like you can invest in a villa in Bali and sell it 1 or 2 years later. The land prices have probably gone up, but the lease have gone down.
Yeah.
So it equals out, and there's no gain here. But yeah, we are not concerned. There's many other places in the world I would be concerned, but Bali will stay strong. One of the things I noticed was the flight tickets.
Yes.
Still super expensive to come to Bali, and they haven't really been adjusted yet. So they, as soon as what are they called, Qatar, Emirates, they start to adjust. It's because they need more. But for now, it's still expensive to fly to Bali. So, yeah.
Speaking of flying to Bali, I think somebody just joined and is asking, to buy and not view the villa as being a foreigner, will you assist with everything from start to finish, including online viewing of a villa? So can we
Of
repeat
course.
that?
Everything. We will
Everything.
assist with everything. So if you just joined us and you want to buy a villa, absolutely not a problem. Our sales agents can help with the virtual showings, help with all the details of the villa. They can help with the contracts. They can help with the notary, PTPMA, bank account, acting as a POA.
Everything.
Everything can be done remotely.
And $200,000 is a very reasonable investment
Yeah.
for a villa for 25 years. Looking at the ROI, there is no other place, even in Phuket, in Thailand,
Yeah.
you can buy an apartment, but not your own villa.
And it's also very, very seasonal, right?
Yeah.
They have a rainy season which completely shuts the island
Yeah,
for
so
6
true.
months a year.
Yeah.
So getting the type of occupancy like
Yeah.
we have is
It's
impossible.
yeah. But
Also,
we can have-
repeat question: What happens after the lease is over?
Yes. I'll let him answer a second time.
Oh, your lease should never be over. That's my first. So the lease should always mention an extension possibility, and the extension possibility can be worded in many ways. We make very strong lease extension with the developers that it's either 10, 15, 20 years,
Yeah.
based on market value, of course, for the land, because you're only paying for the land and not the building on top. But a landowner should never be able to walk away from a lease extension. And it's a generational thing. That means that even though you sign with the father and the son is saying no, then the son still has an obligation to extend. So
I think the other, I try and explain it to a lot of my clients. One of the other things to understand is that land ownership, leasing that land out and doing extensions for a lot of these landowners is a primary source of income.
Exactly.
The average salary around the island is very low. They can set up themselves, their families, their kids by doing these leases and these lease extensions, and therefore they see it not as I don't want to do an extension, but more as that's part of our income, and that will make our income basically.
But we've seen lease agreements where there was no extension.
I think if you look at
Unfortunately.
Legian, Seminyak, places that were very popular 20 years ago, I think a lot of those lease contracts were very, very weak at the time. I think maybe the notaries were also not as focused on that at the time, and you have seen some of those leases come to the end where there's no obligation. But I think the difference is now is that there is an obligation from the landowners to do an extension.
Yeah.
We have someone that is from Europe and is in Bali right now and is encouraging everybody to come, I guess, because he's saying that the euro is very strong.
Yes.
Thumbs up.
Yes.
So
Is it 19.3?
19.3, crazy.
So I was just in Flores and we went around according to the Danish kroner, where I'm from Denmark. It was like absolutely insane. Suddenly it felt like heaven. You know, everything was so cheap.
Yes.
So yeah, enjoy your time in Bali. That's amazing.
Okay, more on the land. I think that it's a concept that we
Yeah.
repeat a lot, but this person is saying, so the value of lease extension is less than the initial purchase value as the extension is based on land basis only.
Correct. Yes. So again, I said it right at the beginning, but I'll say it again. Typically, a lease is taken for the land plot. That could be from a developer, with a developer from a landowner. What happens is they then build a villa on top. They sell the villa with that land lease to somebody else. In the future, because the contract is only based on the land plot with the landowner, the extension is based on that only. So yes, you pay for the price of extension for the land only.
I met some Balinese landowners who said, no, now I want a higher price because there's a villa on top.
Yeah.
Look in your contract,
nice.
right? It's a partnership, you agree with the landowner, but it's, only on land value, only market price.
What is the best up and coming area in Bali to invest in?
Not Kadungu.
You're so harsh. Investing in land or villa?
They don't say.
Okay, so we have investors who are investing in land as well, like they do in Kadungu. I saw another YouTube video where they were ditching Uluwatu, Binging because of the infrastructure, who wants to go there, blah, blah, blah. Facts are the money follows the tourism, right? And the tourists, they love Uluwatu, they love the whole area, the stretch, because it started, of course, with world-class surf, but also all the restaurants which are in Canggu right now, they have gone to Binging and the surroundings of Binging. So staying a week now in Uluwatu doesn't feel like you're in a secluded area, but best area for land purchasing and land banking would be Uluwatu in certain areas. Buying a villa, like Joe said. Binging is becoming expensive, but there's new areas popping up now also.
In Thomas Beach, Sulaban, I would say those areas. We've spoken before about Nyang Nyang, which
Nyang is strong.
Again, still very popular, but is definitely on the upwards. People will always say follow the surfers, but also follow the cafes, follow the gyms, the places that are very busy. And if you look at the cafes and gyms in Bingin right now, they are insanely busy, extremely busy, and that's where the tourists are heading to.
Yeah. Follow the tourism. Easy.
I guess we have somebody that liked Michael from our videos because they're asking, where is Michael located at?
Where is he located at right now? I can track him, and he's in Bingin. Michael is located in our Barawa Canggu office. If they would like to book an appointment, they can do.
He's a nice guy.
He's a good-looking guy.
Is it a woman asking?
Maybe it's Aria.
Nice. Yeah, I think just coming back, I don't know if there's any new subscribers or viewers or followers, but Propertia's team, which is you're the sales manager, they are absolutely amazing. But that goes for the marketing team also and the sales team, legal team, whatever. But I think Michael was in one of those influencer videos lately, right?
Yes.
What was his name?
Brett Conti.
Brett Conti, considering to purchase a villa in Bali.
Was in it a lot.
He looked a little bit confused like the rest of our customers because he heard so many different things, and it's absolutely crazy the stories we hear from other real estate agents. And I don't understand it. Why? It's not complicated.
No.
You know, you choose the villa you love, make sure it's in the right location, and then be honest with your budget.
Yeah.
It's that easy. And then we can help with the rest. We can even help if people want to set up an Indonesia bank account, get the rental income in there, pay the taxes in Indonesia. Make sure if you're from any other country that you check if they have a tax treaty between the countries.
Yeah.
If you're paying, and how much tax are you paying on your villa?
A lot.
A lot, yeah. So no, you're not. I'm from a country you pay 50%. You pay a lot less in Indonesia on your rental income. But it's very important to say there's different ways you can do it. I had a few customers who were very concerned about, I'm an American citizen. Do I need to pay taxes both places? Australia is always that issue also. You can either get a tax number on your villa, or you can get a personal tax number if you have a investor kitas, right, to your own company. So if you have any questions about setting the right setup, depends on what you actually want. If someone came and said, I want to buy 5 to 10 villas, we would probably say you should do it through a company.
For sure.
If it's just one unit for yourself, do your lease yourself. Nice.
Okay, so we're wrapping it up in about a little over 5 minutes.
Yes.
We have a few questions. So the properties that you sell are pink zone, I guess.
Yeah.
Is that the question?
That's the question.
They're a mix.
They're mixed.
But they're not in green zone.
Yeah.
We won't sell any properties in green zone, but the properties that we sell could be mixed between pink, they could be yellow in residential, they could be red. Yeah, the different zones, different colors, different areas, but we would only sell you something that has the possibility of being able to do what you want it to do.
And get a building permit.
Exactly.
And green zone, for you guys who are looking, watching us, green zone is a protected zoning where the government decided that you cannot get a building permit because we need to maintain Bali as beautiful as it is.
Yeah.
So we had a little bit of an Ubud issue. We don't want to go into details, but if you build in green zone, you can get in a lot of problems.
Yeah.
So developers, we always tell them, what is it, pink, yellow, red,
Red,
commercial,
orange.
red, orange. There's
Depending on
many
the area.
zones, but 100% legal.
Yes.
If I buy a villa, then decide to sell, would you take it on?
If I buy a villa and I decide to sell,
So this person is asking if they buy a villa. I think
Through
it's a girl.
us?
Yes, it's
Yeah.
a girl. So she's asking if she buys a villa and then she decides to sell it for whatever reason, would we take it on
of
and
course.
sell it?
Yeah, of course.
Unless they didn't buy it from us and it was in Tejukula or
Yeah,
something.
exactly. This week I had another customer. We talked about it. I think they bought the villa for $259,000. Fantastic rental income. They wanted to resell the villa again. They're moving on to building themselves. And I said, well, the market price is still 259 to 279. There was no capital gain. Actually, they were about to lose money because they have to pay
Yeah.
tax on the income. But it's not an area, you should not invest in Bali if you are into buying and selling.
Yeah.
This is about rental, not capital appreciation. Yeah.
Maybe last
Do we have a few more
question?
questions?
Maybe last
We have 5 minutes
question.
left.
Yeah. So, with the Bali market shifting and competition increasing, what kind of rental returns are actually realistic today compared to what was promised a year or two ago?
Yeah, I mean, I think we discussed
Yeah,
that
we
a little
did.
bit, right? The market has been very buoyant for the last 3 years. Tourists have been more and more and more every year, and it has been very possible to get more than 15% net on
for
some
sure.
villas over the last few years. But people are correct. There's more competition coming into the market. There's also more tourists coming into the market. But it's important to align or realign our expectations. It is still possible to get 15% if you have the right villa, but we would rather under promise and over deliver, and for that
Exactly.
reason we think it's more realistic to guarantee that you're going to get somewhere around 12% net, but of course very possible to get more than that if you buy the right villa, right location, at the right price.
I don't think the competition has changed. I think there's a lot of outdated villas.
Sure.
I think the tourists have become more picky.
Yeah.
I think they have this dream of how their stay should
Yeah.
be in Bali, and that's why you need to choose the right villas. It's like the rest of the world. One more question?
Yeah, could you do a comparison between Greece and Bali? I think, Peter, you can answer this.
Yes. I love Greece. Cannot afford to buy there. I actually was surprised there's no one-bedroom villas in Greece. Do you believe that? That's crazy, huh?
Wow.
So a property in Greece is between 800 to 1.5 million euros. And you have seasonal, right?
Yes.
They shut down in October and open up again in May. It's the worst ROI. It's like, I would say Greece is beautiful. The food is fantastic. Everything is fantastic except for your rental income. That's a disaster. We are talking about 3 to 4%. I would also like to mention that it's a cash purchase in Bali. You cannot get any mortgages. You have to borrow the money in your bank in your own country and say you're doing an investment in Bali. You cannot borrow money in, I think for mortgages, it's easier UK where you're from, or Greece, you can get mortgages. But purely as an investment for lifestyle, I would say I would be tempted with Greece if I could afford it. But for investment, no, definitely not. Yeah,
That's it.
that's it.
That's it.
I think maybe mention that they can find this information on, occupancy and daily rental rates and everything on AirDNA. So it's
For
not
sure.
like we're not making.
We're not making
No,
it
no,
up.
no.
Yeah,
no,
go on
no.
AirDNA.co.
We are very transparent. Very,
AirDNA.co.
yeah,
You can get all
super
of the
valuable.
information regarding occupancies,
Yeah.
average rates, things like
Yeah.
that. For any other information, we have an investment guide.
Exactly.
You can also contact us for that.
It's
We have-
free.
It's free. We don't charge like others. We don't charge.
Free investment guide,
We also have multiple YouTube, Instagram videos where you can find out what you need to know. Don't forget to like and subscribe YouTube and our other social media platforms. You will learn everything that you need to know about investing in Bali.
Fantastic. That's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
And
Thank
you
you.
can also drop questions for the next live
Yes,
and any
we will
other
do this
videos.
again.
Yes.
We will do this again very soon. So send your questions to our marketing team and we will be happy to answer next time.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
See you soon.